of the most confusing parts of composting is figuring out what should and should not go into the pile. So if you look online, everyone seems to have a different opinion. Some people compost almost everything, while others avoid large categories of materials altogether. So over time, I've tried to simplify the decision by stepping back and looking at how nature works. So Mother Nature will eventually compost almost everything. So the question is not always whether something can break down. The better question is whether it belongs in a composting system that is growing food for my family. So over the years, my compost philosophy has become very simple. If I would not feel comfortable having it become part of the soil that feeds my family, I don't put it in my compost pile, because eventually compost becomes a part of the soil and the soil becomes a part of the food that we grow. So once you start thinking about compost as part of a larger living system, you become much more intentional about what you allow into that system. So the first category of materials I generally keep out of my compost pile are bones, meat, dairy, and greasy foods. So bones, they will eventually break down, but they take a very long time in a backyard composting system. Meat, dairy, and greasy foods, they can compost over time, especially in a large hot pile, but they usually require more turning and a longer breakdown period. So in a simple home compost system, I prefer to keep things easier and more manageable. All right, the second category of materials I usually avoid is large sticks and heavy amounts of pine needles. So small twigs and small amounts of needles, they're not really a major problem. But the large amounts can slow down the composting process considerably because they take so much longer to break down. If I use those materials, I usually place them in a separate long-term pile, and I can use them in pathways or for mulch instead. The third category of materials that I never include is human, dog, or cat waste. So the concern here is that harmful pathogens and parasites can survive in the home compost system. So in a food garden, I simply do not think it's worth the risk, and there are specialized systems designed to handle certain wastes safely, but for a simple backyard compost pile, I prefer to keep those materials completely out. All right, the fourth category of materials that I avoid are chemicals. I do not put in glossy or heavy colored paper, wax-coated cardboard, plastic, or synthetic materials in my compost pile. The compost should be feeding the biology of the soil, not introducing contaminants that may affect the microbes in the soil or ultimately the food that we grow. All right, the fifth category of materials I avoid are certain toxic plants. So plants like black walnut, oleander, eucalyptus, hemlock, magnolia, and juniper, they contain compounds that may interfere with healthy plant growth or the soil biology. So in backyard compost systems, there's usually plenty of other safe materials available, so I don't see a reason to take unnecessary risks. So the sixth category of materials I am extremely cautious about is contaminated manure and hay. So some herbicides used on fields and pastures can survive digestion in livestock, pass through the manure, and remain active even after composting. So one of the products that's caused major problems for gardeners is Grazon, which contains aminopyralids, and these herbicides are designed to kill broadleaf plants, which include many common garden crops like tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, beans, and peppers. I'm very careful about what I bring in for manures, hays, from outside sources. Unless I know exactly where it came from and how it was managed, I don't bring it in. Something can be labeled organic and still create serious problems in a food garden if persistent herbicides are involved. All right, the seventh category of materials I like to keep completely out of my compost system are biosolids. So biosolids are the sludge left from the municipal sewer treatment systems, and they are sometimes sold as organic fertilizer. The problem is these materials can contain heavy metals, industrial chemicals, pharmaceuticals, pathogens, and what are often called forever chemicals, including PFAS compounds. So these substances can persist in the soil and eventually move into the crops over time. So personally, I don't want those materials anywhere near the soil that feeds my family. So there are fertilizer products on the market that contain biosolids, and many gardeners do not even realize it because the labeling can sound so natural and environmentally friendly. So this is one of the reasons I encourage people to slow down and really think about what they are bringing into their compost system and their gardens. So the 8th thing I avoid is grass clippings from lawns treated with herbicides or chemical lawn products. So our lawn is a part of the garden system here on the farm. We use grass clippings for mulch and compost, so I do not spray herbicides or lawn chemicals on it. So dandelions, violets, and other plants growing in the lawn, they don't bother me because the lawn is serving a much larger purpose than appearance alone. The 9th thing I avoid is municipal leaf collections and questionable free compost sources. So years ago, we were offered a large pile of leaves collected from the roadside cleanup in town. And at first it sounded like a great resource of free organic material. But when the leaves arrived, the pile was full of trash, rocks, dirt, and there was even a dead cat in it. That experience completely changed the way I think about outside compost materials. It made me realize that I really don't know what chemicals, contaminants, or other materials have been mixed into those leaves before they ever reach the farm. Since then, I've become much more cautious about free municipal compost and leaf programs, especially when growing food crops for my family. So at the end of the day, compost is not just about decomposition, it's about building safe, healthy soil that supports the entire garden system over time. So there's more than enough clean, natural materials around most homes and gardens to build excellent compost without taking unnecessary risks. If you are ever unsure about the material, I think it helps to ask one simple question. Would I feel comfortable having this become part of the soil that feeds my family? That question alone simplifies many compost decisions. So compost is one of those simple practices that quietly affects everything in the garden, but is just one part of the larger system. So if you want to see how all the pieces fit together, I put together a free guide called Grow More Food with Less Work, the 8-Step Abundance Garden System, where I walk through the simple foundation of the system we use here on the farm to make gardening easier, simpler, and more productive. The link is in the description below.